Hey everybody, and welcome to another RCT2 review. We're continuing our head-to-head 10 contest review series as we enter into the third place match in the finals. That's between the Dambusters and the Lonely Hearts Club. So this is the Dambusters Park today. This is Sonnental. This was built 65% by Liampie, 25% by MorganFan, 5% by Ulvenwood, and roygbiv each. This is a cool little map. This is a Swiss village, I believe, and to take on various types of renewable energy with a giant coaster in the middle. So who can argue with that? So let's take a look at this coaster, just since it dominates the whole map. So this is called Solaris. If you've been around for a while, you might be familiar with Solaris by Slav, a builder from years and years ago, which is also a similar color and another Intamin mega coaster. So maybe some references there, but great drop off the mountain here. Great turnaround, of course, using all the new pieces that you would expect, since that's definitely become a thing. Great layout, huge layout over top and around of all the buildings and the mountains and everything, really using those diagonal curve pieces with the climbs and the drops and everything, making some of those larger sweeping corners, just makes it a much smoother layout in general. So super good speed management throughout the whole thing, very fast ride just in general. Great hop over the station here, and this cool final helix and into the brakes. What you might notice on the back of the train there is kind of a fun little deal. It is a solar panel, because you can see the solar panels all along here, so I guess this is meant to be a solar powered coaster. It's kind of an interesting idea. But there's all sorts of renewable energy type things around this map. So let's just kind of start with the overall aesthetics of the whole thing. We've got this very Swiss alpine type village here with the twist of all of these different colors and the glass elements and everything on them. So I love this kind of red, orange to yellow. Kind of reminds me of another coaster from back in the day from Titan, with some really nice colors there, and just kind of cool to see this sort of modern take on this different architecture. But also integrated are all these different uh, energy type things, like these little windmill elements here spanning across the buildings. You can also see those further up on traditional pylons here, or this one, which I thought was clever, on these giant like kites flying up there. So that's kind of an interesting idea. Um, Interesting aesthetic, going with the kind of darker gray for the mountains, especially with the very green grass. The transition's maybe a little bit harsh, but I think it's an interesting choice. It's a bold choice. Took a little bit of time to grow on me, I think, but I think I'm getting there. It is a very nice look for the whole thing. And then I love these uses for the solar panels here, which are just coaster vehicles, or ride vehicles, I guess, and set up statically along the mountainside here. Also, ride-wise, we've got this tower. Pretty nice little tower with kind of a neat little walkway up top here with this kind of S-shaped viewing platform, and then kind of another platform down below. The whole thing looks kind of neat. Interesting looking tower shape to it as well. I'm relatively certain this is based off a real one, but I just can't place it right now, and I haven't done my research ahead of this video. So if somebody who made this can tell us where the tower is from, then excellent. Got some really cool water interaction here. I love this waterfall that comes down underneath the coaster, and then also underneath the station, set up on this arch. That's very cool. And then also this kind of seawall type thing here along the waterway. There's this great tram that runs all the way along using some of the invisible track too, so it's just the rail. So that runs all the way over to the other side here, and you can see it parked right here. This is the magnetic tramway. Kind of fun. So we go from sort of this green running section here to this elevated section on this side. Nice swoopy corners that wraps around the whole thing, and really does a nice job to kind of tie this section of the map all together. I appreciate the use of some of these diagonal and half diagonal buildings here, like this guy, or this thing, which is kind of interesting. It's if you click on the coaster down here, it says giant cogwheel. I think the idea here is it's supposed to be able to rotate based on access to the sun, which is kind of neat to see. You can see this little walkway here that's got a barrier because it isn't rotated to that point right now, so that's kind of a fun little detail. Would have been neat if there was a way to make this turn, and I'm sure there's some kind of plugin that could do that, but I'm guessing they were up against it for time on this one for sure. Keeping with the green theme here. We have the veggie dog stand right here, and just lots of nice little details like these painters here doing some figure drawing. Love this foliage on the building itself, and just these buildings are always nice. I've always been sort of a sucker for this type of architecture, so always a big fan of this look. Very brightly colored landscaping and some landscape pieces that we don't see very often, which is definitely a bold choice. Definitely taking some, I don't know if I want to say risks necessarily, but trying to use some pieces that you wouldn't normally see, like these gigantic flowers that maybe look a little bit out of place, but don't do too bad, I don't think, in fitting out well. This little play area here with the sun on the ground, very nice look. By the way, too, the supports, now that I'm thinking about those, really nice. Very nicely done. I love kind of this structure and everything. Definitely a challenge to support this one, especially with the terrain. So it looks quite nice for the whole thing. Got a defunct cable car here that looks like at one point it went through the mountains, and that's kind of a neat little backstory for the map. Over on this side, we have the cable car that's still running. This one will take you up to the top, and then you can bike down this little trail here. On this guy, we get the Glacier Trail all the way down. I love the use here of the, I think it's the Steel Wild Mouse track with the rails invisible, so it's just the ties that are visible, so it looks like kind of logs or something that's placed in the ground for some of the path here. That's a pretty clever trick. I hadn't seen that one just yet. Cows here doing their thing, and then just certainly little bits of clickable things here and there, like guy who's wondering how we're going to get down, and this guy who's much less concerned, who's sunbathing right up here. As we look through some of the rest of this, we get down to some more landscaping and foliage down here where it gets a little bit thicker. Love these details here. We've got the apple orchard here where we've got all those ladders set up and the barrels and bins and everything getting picked. I assume they're apples. They could be something else, I guess, but apple seems like the most appropriate thing. Here is the beekeeper in the spacesuit costume, which I think is fun. Love using the little particulate effect here for the bees, and then using the gumdrop object here for the actual beehive. That's a pretty clever little detail, I think. So very cool with that one. And then I do like watching this this water come all the way down here, go underneath these half diagonal bridges, and then here's the regular one. Here's another half diagonal one. I didn't spot the cable car here hanging the last time too, with the plants all growing out of it. That's pretty darn cool. I don't think I'd actually spotted that on any of my previous look-throughs, so that's a neat little look there. But on the whole, a lot of really cool stuff on this one. You can definitely tell that this map was built relatively quickly in terms of just overall size. I think it could have gotten bigger from a just contest rules standpoint, but it feels very well filled out. I like the kind of retro-ish style to it, where it's definitely got a little less focus on the super micro minimalism and more of this focus on kind of a macro look. When you zoom out here, you really get a good picture of the whole thing. I do love that look and just this whole style in general. It's a very kind of timeless look to me in terms of general RCT building, but big fan of it, and just cool architecture all around, lots of little details and cool stuff to look at. And of course, one of the better layouts in the contest, I'd probably say. It's definitely bold to make kind of a giant thrill coaster layout that's not entirely story driven or buried in a whole bunch of different theming and everything. It really kind of stands on top of the map and kind of sits on top of everything, which I kind of like. It's definitely a very old school approach to just, giant cool coaster, and I'm a fan of that. If you'd like to download this park, which you ought to, you can find a link in the description of this video to download it. If you would download it, you're going to need to open RCT2 to do it, and I'll provide a link to that as well. Next up, we're going to look at the opposing park to this one for the third place match. We'll tell you who won that match, and then afterwards we'll go on to the grand final. So until next time, thank you all very much for watching, and have a great day. Bye now.